did you dabble with any other elements of hip hop? Was you doing any like graffiti or did you try popping or breaking or any of that?
Yeah, I've tried it all. I used to do graph a fair bit. That's how I got my name.
So, you know, as a DJ, you know, we have a world full of like unbelievable DJs, you know, your Cash Moneys, your Cuba, your Jazzy Jeff, you know, UK, your DJ Pogo, your Cut Master Swifts, DJ Random, you know, all these wicked DJs, you know. Was there like certain DJs out there that were kind of inspiring you on the turntables? You was thinking, wow, you know, they're incredible.
All of them people that you mentioned,
and more.
You know, and more. The thing is, you never stop learning this stuff. Even in 2024, I'm still learning new things on the turntables with the mixer, you know, especially with all this crazy technology and that. And it's amazing, you know, you'll never stop learning it.
We're going to take it back to the 70s. We're going to take it back to the break when DJ Kool Herc was doing the merry-go-round, cutting up 2 breaks. The break is the essence of hip-hop, you know. So can you tell me about the importance of, do you love cutting up the original breaks? Do you love the breaks?
I really do, man. But yeah, every single person that I've ever battled against, whether it be in the 6-minute classic DMC battle, a Red Bull freestyle, or head-to-head ITF, IDA, DMC battle, I've had pure respect for them people. Nothing but respect. I'd say the intro and the outro gotta be the hardest thing. You know what I mean? Like within the routine, it gotta like smack the hardest. It gotta grab people's attention straight away, and you want to leave them with a great impression at the end of the routine.
He put his foot on the crossfader and he'd start doing this with his foot on the crossfader and start cutting the record up and using his foot to move the crossfader. And the place would go mad. It's like other DJs would pick up a deck and start using it as an instrument and start cutting with holding the deck.
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the tricks that you see over the years and what people did on turntables, especially the visual tricks like that, you know, the body tricks.
Oh.
There was a guy back in the days, he actually span on the turntable, DJ David.
No. What do you mean he span on the turntable? So on this week's show, we have someone who's an absolute beast on the turntables and cuts through vinyl like a knife through butter. He's won 8 British DJ titles, including the DMC UK Battle Champion, DMC UK Champion, and the IDA UK Champion. And he's a real showman behind the wheels of steel. I'm excited to say we have the one and the only DJ RASP in the place. Yes, RASP.
Yo, how you doing?
It's an honor, my man. It's an honor.
It's an honor to be part of this. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can't wait to, delve into your history, talk about, the DJing, the cutting up, on the decks, the music, the inspirations, the breaks. We're going to be going into the fine details, which I'm really excited about.
Let's dig deep.
We're going deep, mate. We're going deep into the vaults. We're hitting the vaults big time. So, Russ, the first 2 questions I always kick it off with in my interviews is basically, whereabouts are you from and what was it like growing up, as a youngster? What era was you growing up in?
Okay, I'm from St Helens, which is a small town in between Liverpool and Manchester. It's actually in Merseyside. And I come up in the 90s era, the 90s going on to the early 2000s. I'm 46 now. So yeah, do the math, the mid 90s to the early 2000s is when I started getting into the music, when I started being active within the music scene,
What as a youngster, before all this kind of, you was listening to hip hop and all that. Was growing up in the younger years, was there kind of certain tracks that you was into, or was you still literally into that kind of decent hip hop sound and all house music?
Yeah, as a youngster, I liked all kinds of music, stuff in the charts, stuff on the radio. I remember there was one of my first introduction to hip hop was probably the Green Cross Code advert. Don't push me because I'm close
to the edge. Yeah, do you remember that? Wow. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And that's the first time I really heard hip hop, you know what I mean? So yeah, and then you'd hear the real song in the charts. That's that song. I kind of like that, But what really got me into hip hop was a friend of mine called John. He was in my class at school, and this is like second year seniors. So I would have been about 12 at the time, and he would come. He come from London, and he moved up here. And he had all these cassettes that he used to listen to on his Walkman, and I used to be like, what's on tapes that you're listening to? And he used to have like BDP and Big Daddy Kane and NWA and Public Enemy and all this type of stuff and Hijack and that. I'd be like, wow, that's cool stuff. He used to pass me his earphones and let me listen to the stuff. And I'd be like, could you lend me some of them cassettes? And I'd tape them and and that's how I got into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the beats and that, and the scratching and the lyrics, and yeah, it was like, wow, this is awesome stuff. As well as other music as well. Like there was a lot of like rave music that was big at that time, Rat Pack and Top Buzz and Carl Cox and all that type of stuff, and the Prodigy.
Because also RASP, like some of that like earliest kind of house music stuff, like you say, like the Prodigy, and there was loads. They were sampling as well, like hip hop breaks and hip hop beats. So it was kind of around them. Like later on, it was kind of like merging, wasn't it? Like like, and then you had your drum and bass stuff and your jungle stuff that were using like breaks and stuff. It was a wicked time for music.
It was. I'm so grateful to be brought up in that era. It was a very special time. Very experimental time, and yeah, it was brilliant.
And I was lucky to see it because I'm nearly 10 years older than you, so I was lucky to see it from the very, very start, which was even more mind blowing. Seeing like the way rap turned into hip hop, and then then the house music scene and the way that developed and expanded. It was incredible, man.
Yeah, we were lucky. We are very lucky to be brought up in that era. You seen the first generation. I remember being a kid. I'm a little bit younger and that, like, so as a kid I'd go to town with my mum or whatever, and you'd see the older kids get the lino out and they'd be breaking. You know what I mean? It was like a big thing, around about 83, 84.
Carrying the vinyl on your shoulder. Carrying the vinyl on the shoulder, or the ghetto blaster on your shoulder.
Yeah, used to see him in town. Even in a small town like St. Helens, you'd see it, and there'd be body poppers and all this type of stuff, and you'd be like, walking through town with your mum, and that's quite cool, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm grateful to have seen all of that type of stuff.
It was groundbreaking, and also, in terms of like, we're talking hip hop. So we are talking about the elements of hip hop. It just doesn't cover, just the turntablist and the scratching and the breaking. It covers like a whole wealth of other, popping, beatboxing you can put in there as well. Did you try a graph as well? Graph comes under the elements of hip hop. Did you dabble with any other elements of hip hop? Was you doing any like graffiti or did you try popping or breaking or any of that?
Yeah, I tried it all. I used to do graph a fair bit. That's how I got my name.
RASP. Yeah, I was going to ask you how you got your name. Yeah, because it's a wicked, because your name sounds like something you'd tag up on a bus or a train or something.
Well, my name come from a guy called Stock, who was a graffiti writer from Liverpool. And, we was all hanging out one time, and for a little bit of banter, I come in the room and he said something like, "Oh, you little rasper." And then people started saying rasper, and then it became RASP. And I was writing other things at the time. This is like the 90s or whatever. I'm writing all kinds of different names and experimenting. And I thought, RASP, that's a good one. I like them letters.
Yeah.
So tag that up. I wasn't brilliant at graph or anything. I just used to have fun doing it. You know what I mean?
Was you more like into the tagging and like the hand style and all that?
Yeah, I used to like doing that and a couple of throw ups and that, and yeah, it used to be fun. It used to be mad fun, actually. I kind of miss that. I don't know whether I could go back to that because, you know, it's kind of a youthful thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was fun times doing all of that. Yeah, so I used to do like little chrome dubs and throw ups and tags and that. Yeah, used to get into all kinds of trouble.
It was exciting times, wasn't it? It's kind of what built us as kids.
Oh, definitely. Plus, there was no CCTV back then. You know
exactly,
what I mean? So
exactly.
You could get away with it.
yeah. Well, you had to be
incriminating myself saying all this.
Listen, you was under 16.
Yeah. If they want to find it, probably them buildings and then, you know, railway walls are all done now, you know what I mean? Good luck finding them.
yeah, it's probably all faded now. But talking about so with the DJing, I mean, obviously you're an absolute beast. You know, you've kind of mastered your craft. You're a natural on the decks. There's only so many people, you know, I can say, well, when you look at them, you think, yeah, you've got what it takes. You're pure natural. You know, when did you actually say to yourself, I want to become a DJ? I mean, was it seeing other scratch DJs, or was it like, I mean, how did that process come about?
Well, I got into DJing through collecting records, and my auntie gave me a hi-fi with a, you know, turntable on there, and I used to make pause tapes. You know, from my record collection, and I would listen to them pause tapes on my Walkman when I'm walking around or riding around on my bike or whatever. And I thought to myself, you know, save up and get 2 turntables, and then I could, you know, mix them together, you know, rather than pressing pause and then letting go and recording it and, you know, putting one record off and waiting and all that. I thought, okay, maybe if I get 2 turntables and a mixer, I can do it all live and merge it all together, and I can create my own tapes a little bit better, you know what I mean, just for myself really. And yeah, I got some cheap belt drive turntables. I can't even remember the make of them. They were awful though. You'd open the door in my bedroom, the needle would skip. You know what I mean? They were terrible. But I'm glad I learned on them because it helped me develop a light touch and you know, a nice relationship with the vinyl and that, like, you know what I mean? It was quite frustrating at the time, but I'm grateful for that now. Because
the thing is, Rasp, it's like the Technic 1200s or the 1210s. They were big money, do you know what I mean? They weren't like, you know, as a little kid, you know, only like a few people had them decks if your mum and dad had a bit of money or whatever. Oh, yeah. Like they was big money, do you know what I mean? So most of the DJs would start with those decks that, you know, you was practicing on.
Yeah. Well, I saved up. I was working in a warehouse at the time, and I saved up my money, and I got, you know, these belt drive turntables. It was out of like, was it Mixed Mag or Hip Hop Connection? They were like these packages, what you could get, you know, 2 decks on a mixer with some headphones and slip mats and needles. And I can't remember how much it was. It was probably, well, it was a lot of money to me at the time, probably about £250 for the whole thing, you know what I mean? It was before the Battle Pack, the New Mark Battle Pack. It was like, you know, I got my first decks in 1996. Yeah, I can't remember the brand of them, but the mixer that I had didn't even have a crossfader. It was like this long, wide mixer with just up faders and loads of like graphic EQ on it. You know what I mean? With the sliders.
So you had to use the up fader to cut.
Yeah.
Instead of the crossfader.
Yeah, up faders, and it had line switches as well. And
could you do that thing with the button like that you used to do? The what was that technique called with the little button? And you get
the transformer switch.
That's it, the transformer. Yeah.
Well, later on, I actually got a mixer with one of them. It's like a punch in, punch out button. Was
that? Yeah.
A record on and off. Yeah, I used to enjoy that. You could get some really cool patterns out of that you can't necessarily get out of a crossfader. You know, that was a little bit later on, though. I got some Sound Lab turntables that I bought off my friend DJ Crow. Big up DJ Crow, good friend of mine who lives in Birmingham now.
Yeah, big up, man.
He saw me his belt drive Sound Labs a little bit later. They still wasn't Technics, but they were better than the ones I had. I sold mine to my friend Lee, and then I bought Crow's Sound Labs, and I bought a Sound Lab mixer with a punch in, punch out, and it was a little bit better, you know what I mean? Because I thought I was getting into it more, and I thought, you know, this stuff that I've got, okay, I know it's cheap and it's not the best, and you know, maybe if I get some better stuff, it would help me, you know what I mean? And the needle won't skip as much and it won't be as frustrating. So, you know, I saved up and got this, and I improved more with the technology.
With the Sound Labs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is quite nice because, you know, you become kind of, you could say, addicted to this. You know, this is something you love. This is something you had passion for. So
totally.
How was you learning your craft? You know, was you like literally on the decks, like not 24/7, but was you on the decks pretty much like 7-8 hours a day, like literally non-stop and trying different techniques? And, you know, tell me about that.
All day, every day, you know. When I first started and I got the bug for it, you know, from experimenting with scratching to beat juggling to mixing, and, you know, just like putting together mixtapes and all that, I'm just constantly practicing all of the time. And it was a good thing. It kept me out of trouble.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
it stopped you from tagging up walls.
Yeah, it did. I was still doing that a little bit, you know, at that time. But, you know, being a young man in, you know, a northern working class town, there's a lot of like negative distraction, and I'd say DJing and being into hip hop and that type of stuff, it learned me discipline, and it kept me out of trouble. It really did. You know, I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes or do mad things or whatever, you know what I mean, along that, but it did make me focus on something positive, you know what I mean, rather than seeing what certain people are doing and getting into all kinds of mad stuff. I'm like, actually, I don't want to do that. I just want to go home and be with my records and create stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, it really did help me out. Like,
oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's the thing about creativity. It doesn't matter whether you're an MC, whether you're a DJ, whether you're writing poems, writing books, or doing sculptures. You know, being creative, I love talking about this. You know, it really pushes positivity, you know, especially at a young age. It keeps you on the straight and narrow.
It does. It did that for me, you know. And then, you know, I started like pushing myself out there, you know what I mean, and getting little gigs here and there and playing house parties. And yeah, there's some wild house parties I used to play, and it was great, you know. Sometimes it'd just be me with my decks, you know, and a bunch of, you know, people or whatever, and sometimes other DJs would come, but there wasn't many other hip-hop DJs, especially in St. Helens, you know, so I would play other music as well, you know. In some of the early house parties I'd play like some rave music and some house and drum and bass and that type of stuff. But yeah, it was all fun.
It's quite interesting because obviously you've grown up in an era where, you know, you've got your hip hop scratch DJs and all that, but you've also got your house DJs and all that mixing on the decks with the house records as well. So it's a real kind of combination of the two, wasn't it? What you was doing, it was like a bit of both, like, you know, blending in all different styles of music.
Yeah, you know, plus growing up with all that music around you, and at that time it was hard not just to like one thing, you know what I mean? There was so much good music, you know. I used to like rock music as well. I used to like, you know, Iron Maiden, and I used to like reggae. Well, I still do. I like all of these things, you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes you'd experiment and throw the odd, you know, track into your mixtape or whatever, you know what I mean, out from a different genre. And yeah, it used to be good to do that. It's just nice to have an eclectic taste, you know. Like now, you know, anyone can download every song in the world very easily for free, you know what I mean? Back then, your record collection was varied. You know, you'd end up accumulating records from different people and swapping records and having all kinds of genres, and just what you had, that, you know, it was kind of limited, but you'd make it work. Do you get what I mean? You
would make it work. And the thing is, it's like record digging, you know, sniffing out your crop, you know, going to these record shops or jumble sales or charity shops, whatever it was. Record digging and finding the breaks or finding them records was a huge part of being a DJ. And also going to there were some amazing record shops as well. Where was you buying, you know, where was you going digging? Where was you vinyl digging?
Well, there was a lot of decent places growing up, you know, even like some commercial shops, like Woolworths. You could buy records in Woolworths back in the days, and they were cheap. You know, you could go to what was it? Our Price Records. There was one of them in St Helens.
HMV.
HMV. There wasn't a HMV in St Helens in the early days. That come a little bit later. The Virgin Music. They had a record shop. There was an independent one in St Helens in the market called Kaleidoscope Records, and the guy's still going, which is great. You know what I mean? He has all kinds of great music. You know, lots of funk and lots of like rock and psychedelic stuff. And it used to be a great digging spot, that. And then I branch out. I go to Liverpool. I go to Freebeat Records and I can't remember, Probe Records. That was a good spot. And I go to Manchester, to Fat City, and Vinyl Exchange and Piccadilly Records. So living in St Helens, I had two good cities close by. You know what I mean? So I could nip to Liverpool or Manchester. It was really easy to get to on a train. And also there was good towns that had good record shops, like Wigan, was it Allen's Music?
Yeah,
it was a good spot. And, Hot Wax in Warrington. That's where I live now. I live in Warrington. I used to go to Warrington and get the records from Hot Wax, and they had a good HMV in Warrington, and they always had a good record selection there. So digging, you know, in my early days was great. You know, there was a lot of selection.
It was fantastic. RASP, it was fantastic because you'd go into the record shop, right? You could get a smell, like sniff out the record. There was a certain smell to vinyl and record covers. And you walk in there and everything would be like, you know, labeled as like hip hop or drum and bass, house music, rock, you know. And like you'd be, what was it like? Tell me about it. Like looking through the stacks and trying to find, you know, like a record. You must have loved that.
I used to spend hours in there. Hours, you know, especially when I go and see my friends in Manchester. And would go to, you know, Fat City or Vinyl Exchange. You know, I used to smoke weed back then. I don't anymore. But yeah, we'd have a few spliffs and just go digging and just get lost in it. You know what I mean? And
you spend hours in there.
Yeah, hours just digging. But we didn't have much money back then, so you'd be looking for them bargains. You know what I mean? And when you found, you know, the breaks or, you know, some good hip hop tracks or whatever, it was like, you know, it's such a good feeling.
Big time. And also, you know, did you have one of those satchels? You know, the satchels you put over your shoulder and you put your records in. Do you remember them? And you put your records into this satchel, and it'd have like maybe a name of a record label on the side of it, or a record shop or whatever. Do you remember them things that you put over your shoulder?
I used to have an Eastern Bloc one.
Eastern Bloc, Eastern Bloc was wicked.
Yeah, Eastern Bloc's still going. Big up Jim, who runs Eastern Bloc. Yeah, they're still going. And I had an Eastern Bloc satchel, and I used to take that on my little digging excursions. But before that, it was just a carrier bag. You know, carrier bag or whatever. Or I'd just carry the records. But yeah.
It was, and also the record boxes as well. I mean, you had the big old record boxes you put your records in?
Oh yeah, I can't forget them.
That's why you got long arms, isn't it?
Years of carrying them things around, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had one box that I bought off a friend of mine, and it was more like a box what you keep in the house. you know, and I remember he had a handle on it. I remember taking it to a house party in Manchester, and the bottom started falling out because the box was overloaded. So I'm walking around Manchester with the,
hold it.
It was so heavy, you know, and it was a long mission as well, you know what I mean? And I was like, right, you know, I need to get a proper box now, one that's not going to fall apart, you know what I mean?
How times have changed.
Yeah.
I know.
You can have everything on a...
Now everything's on a USB stick.
You can have everything on that.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Crazy.
it's mental. It's mental.
I still love the records, and I'll still always buy them. I'm a collector, you know what I mean? So I could never get rid of my record collection. And I really like the 7s at the moment. So I've really been getting into the 7 inches. I just find them fun. Plus, they're easier to take to gigs and that type of thing, you know what I mean?
So, you know, as a DJ, you know, we have a world full of like unbelievable DJs, you know, your Cash Moneys, your Cuba, your Jazzy Jeff, you know, UK, your DJ Pogo, your Cutmaster Swifts, DJ Random, you know, all these wicked DJs, you know. Was there like certain DJs out there that were kind of inspiring you on the turntables? You was thinking, wow, you know, they're incredible.
All of them people that you mentioned,
and more,
and more. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, the Executioners, the Pickles, the Beat Junkies, and a little bit later on, the Scratch Perverts, the Allies. Oh, so many crews, mixologists. And yeah, so many dope DJs. You know, even like drum and bass DJs like Hype and, you know, Carl Cox, and you know what I mean? There was so many DJs and you know, local DJs that would inspire me too, you know what I mean? And, you know, just like going to the, you know, the battles and that type of thing and seeing other DJs that are a bit more experienced and doing all these crazy things, and yeah, it would definitely inspire me. I'd go home and be like, wow, what were they doing? I'll try and, you know,
try and mimic
or whatever, you know what I mean, or do it in my own way or whatever.
Yeah, and that's an important point, because you can mimic someone or copy someone, but was there any kind of techniques where you found you created your own, or was you kind of putting your twist on a technique that was already formed?
Well, when I started learning, there wasn't many tapes available, you know what I mean? So a lot of it was through ear. When I first started learning, it was definitely through ear. So you listen to like a Hijack record or a Gangstar record or a Pete Rock record, and you listen to the scratches and you try and work out what are they doing, you know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of it was through experimentation and doing it by ear. And then a little bit later, we got the DMC and New Music Seminar tapes. And then a little bit later, it was the ITF tapes and all of that type of stuff. But you just see the performance. They wouldn't be breaking down the techniques. You'd be like, wow, what movements have they just done? You know what I mean? So you get more of an idea from seeing it on these videotapes. You know, you rewind, you know, Cash Money set or whatever, you just rewind it. What is he doing? How is he moving that crossfade? How is he tapping that or whatever? And yeah, and then you started developing your own way. By trying to mimic what these guys are doing, you develop your own way of doing things. You know, for me, I was very right-handed on the turntables, and then I re-coordinated myself to do it left-handed, and I re-coordinated myself again through buying a dodgy mixer with a terrible crossfader that would always break. What I'd do, I'd swap the channels round so it would work in hamster, so I could get my money's worth out of the crossfader. So I re-coordinated myself again to develop the hamster style, you know what I mean? And that really worked for me, just by using the crossfader backwards. And now it's weird using the crossfader in regular mode, you know. So yeah, just for experimenting, really, you know what I mean?
What the thing is. That's hip hop. Hip hop is always all about experimenting, creating, putting a twist on something, or using a break. And it's already, obviously, the record's already been made, but using that part of the hip hop, that break, and creating something new with it and exciting. That's what you was doing with the turntables, isn't it? You was like mimicking somebody else's style, but then putting your little kind of twist on that as well.
Yeah, doing my own thing with it. You know what I mean? It took me a while to develop my own style and fully figure out what I was actually doing, how I was doing it, and, how I would break it down. I would say the late 90s, early 2000s is when I thought, right, okay, this is my style, what I'm developing. This is what I'm comfortable doing. And, the thing is, you never stop learning this stuff. Even in 2024, I'm still learning new things on the turntables with the mixer, and, especially with all this crazy technology and that. And it's amazing, you'll never stop learning it. You'll never actually master anything in life. You know what I mean? There's always more stuff to learn, and we're always
students. We're all students, man. We're all students.
Definitely all students of this game. You know what I mean? And this craft. And no matter what you do, whether it be breakdancing, rapping, a sport, if you're drawing or whatever, you know what I mean? You're always going to learn. And I think that's what keeps it exciting for me. There's always new stuff to learn. Of course, you develop your own style, but, there's new little tricks that you can add to your arsenal,
Right, so I really want to talk about this. This, to me, is really important. Look, we're going to take it back to the 70s. We're going to take it back to the break when DJ Kool Herc was doing the merry-go-round, cutting up 2 breaks. The break is the essence of hip-hop. So can you tell me about the importance of, do you love cutting up the original breaks? Do you love the breaks?
I really do, man. I love cutting up the break beats. Especially like the Ultimate Breaks and Beats series.
Amazing.
Right here. That's probably my favorite one.
What's on that one?
It has Apache, Dance to the Drummer's Beat. Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn. It's got Bongo Rock and Pussyfooter on it as well. And yeah, I've hammered this record. I've got multiple copies of this because it's one of them. It's one of them records. All the breaks are great on it, and it's amazing to cut up and have fun with.
They were amazing, and then
the breaks.
And them super disco breaks were incredible as well, because, you was hearing these wicked music, like literally on one album, where some of them records are so rare, they were so difficult to find or so expensive. To have all them breaks on one album was a game changer.
It certainly was. And the fact that you got 2 copies in the pack, it's like a twin pack. That was awesome. You know what I mean? It was whoever made that, I don't know who produced it or whatever, but yeah, whoever made these Ultimate Break and Beats album, Street Beat Records, thank you. A lot of DJs, thank you for that, because it's helped a lot of us out over the years. Because like you said, to find the originals of all them songs, super rare, you know what I mean? Probably not many records have been pressed, but for them to compile all these songs on the album and give you 2 copies of it, perfect for DJs.
They were made for scratch DJs, man. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. They were the first battle breaks, really.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Before the Qbert ones, the Dirt Style ones, and I think Simon Harris had a battle break out years ago, if I can remember right.
Big up to Simon Harris, by the way. Yeah. Hopefully I'm going to be interviewing Simon Harris as well.
Yeah, I had a few of his records in the early days, and they just like fresh, and then like a long gap, and then another noise, or whatever, you know what I mean? And yeah, they were cool little battle breaks back in the days. Yeah.
This is something I was going to say to you as well, in terms of like, going into like a battle. How do you prepare for, to go into a battle? I mean, it must take a lot of a lot of hard work. What about what records you're going to be cutting up, and there must be a whole process to that. How does that kind of work?
It takes a lot of practice and dedication and experience. My path has been a long one when it comes to battling. Some DJs have, got into like a DMC, never entered before, won the whole thing, and then, the career's just blown up or whatever. For me, my path was very, very different from that. My path was like a long slog and a long learning curve for me, you know what I mean? So every year I'd battle or whatever, I remember stuff of what happened the previous year and learn from my mistakes, you know what I mean? So the process of like putting a routine together would take quite a while. It'd take a lot of experimentation, especially the days before Serato and DVS and Tractor and all of that, when it was just your records. So, for one, you'd have to find the right songs to use. You'd have to like compose a routine or a couple of routines, and basically you put all the routines that you compose together and take the best ones, and then put that into a 6-minute set, you know what I mean, and try and work out transitions and how you get from record A to record B to record C or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, it takes a while, and you got to practice it on different equipments, different mixers, practice it, at shows if you can. Because it's a whole like RASP. This thing is like it's a whole production, isn't it? I mean, this is like, and the thing is, right? This could go so wrong. I mean, like, you could be halfway in a set or at the start of a set, and suddenly a bit of fluff on the needle or whatever, and suddenly we're talking vinyl, man. Vinyl is a totally different beast. Oh yeah,
it's like it can jump.
Yeah, back in the days that has happened to me, and you've got to recover from that. I remember one time, it was 2005, and I'd be competing in the DMC and all that, and you'd have to like go to different heats all over the different cities in the country. And I went to Newcastle, and it was a hot day, and I got a lift up there, and my records had kind of warped.
Oh man, yeah.
And I didn't realize this until I'm actually doing my routine. And what had happened is the stickers that you place on the record for your cue points or whatever, slightly moved. And, you don't get no time in DMC. DMC can be quite harsh, or it used to be quite harsh back in the days. They won't give you time to practice. It's just like, right, set up and go. You do your routine and that's it. But yeah, that happened to me. Luckily, I recovered and I got through the elimination, and I went to the nighttime final. But yeah, it was so stressful. I was like, oh my God, it was only like after I realized, the heat must have moved the stickers or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, anything can happen. The needle can skip and you got to recover. So what I used to do, I used to practice on wobbly tables at home and make the needle skip and just like try and work out different ways that I could recover.
Yeah.
Whilst in mid-performance doing my routine. But yeah, it's all the gamble of it. It's kind of fun in a way. Can be frustrating sometimes, but it can be fun too. But yeah, it's a massive learning curve, you know what I mean? But when it goes right, and you've put all them months and years of practice, and then you finally win a heat or a route or a final or whatever, then it's all worth it. It all comes together, and it's like, yeah. How did it make you feel when you first won your first competition? What was the first one? Was it as a battle DJ? The first competition that I won was in Warrington at a local DJ comp, and it was more like a mixing comp. You got 15 minutes to do whatever, and it was in the town centre. It was on a hot day. There's lots of DJs. You had to go through a load of heats, and you got the end slot, which you did 15 minutes, and yeah, I won a massive keyboard, and that was a great feeling. And then the first DMC, like the first major competition that I won, was a DMC heat in Leeds, and I won that outright after years of like coming second or third. I'm just missing the UK final because you had to win to get into the UK final, and I actually won a heat in Leeds, and it was great. And I don't know, I kind of like that day of the competition, I kind of thought, right, I'm doing this. I want that. I want that title tonight. You know what I mean? I'm going to Leeds, and I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to do my best. And yeah, it come off good. My routine, I performed it clean, and you know, there was some stiff competition that day as well. And yeah, it was a very, very good feeling after all the years of nearly getting there, and you know what I mean. But winning that first heat, that was a special moment. And then winning a UK final in 2009, the Battle for Supremacy, which is more like a head-to-head tournament style DJ competition. That was a great feeling, you know, because that was a very, very tough battle. A lot of DJs, they had to do a lot of routines that day. And to finally win it and get the UK title, and then, you know, represent the England and the UK in the world finals was a, you know, magical moment for me. Yeah. But I worked hard to get it. I worked really hard to get it. Like,
listen, there's a huge amount of pressure, right? Especially with the vinyl, and you got all the DMC, all the judges, which are you know, which know their craft. I remember a friend of mine. You know, he would practice for days and days and days, and he went in for a DMC regional final for Southeast in Gravesend, and he actually won that regional final. And then DJ Random actually won the actual the full, you know, the main final. But I used to watch him, you know, literally practice for ages. And the thing is, he kind of, when he was at the DMC in Gravesend, he was wicked. Nothing could touch him. But on the day, you know, I think the pressure, he wasn't feeling that great. I think with the pressure of it all as well, it didn't go to plan. And you could quite easily fall apart. Do you know what I mean? It could like, you could be like, you know, going from this high to this low. You know, it must be like such a hardship when it's not all going to plan.
Yeah, it can be very, very overwhelming, you know, and you've got to like discipline your mind and, you know, try and just go with the flow. A lot of things are beyond your control when you're in these competitions, you know, like technical difficulties, or the table might be too high or it might be too low. You feel rushed, you know, it's like, you know, come on, get on, set up, do your thing, and then get off, next person's on, you know what I mean? So you just got to go with the flow of it. That's why, you know, learned myself over the years. And, you know, even with experience, you can still feel a bit stressed or whatever, but you just got to go with it. And some days it's good and some days it ain't, you know what I mean? And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know what I mean?
And, and hopefully it don't crumble on the day, you know, you got big competition.
Yeah. When it goes good, it's good. And, you know, I think for any battle DJ or any like performing DJ, whether you're in a battle or not, if you're doing turntablism and you absolutely smack your routine and you pull it off clean, that is a great feeling, you know what I mean? Whether you win or lose, if you know you pull it off clean and people get it, that's a great feeling in itself, you know what I mean? So win or lose, that is the goal, is to just do your thing clean. And
and I'll tell you one thing as well. When my friend won, he won obviously he won the regional Southeast final, and he won this like DMC. It had leather arms, all black with material. It had DMC on the back of it. He was like ecstatic, you know. He was like over the moon. He'd been practicing all these years, you know, learning his craft, and he'd won this regional final. You know, it was such a brilliant feeling.
Oh yeah, I bet he lived in that jacket.
He did live in it. Yeah. He lived in that jacket.
I was lucky. I've got two of them jackets actually. I got the Battle for Supremacy one in 2014, and I got one in 2017. I didn't actually get one for 2009. So DMC, if you're listening, where's my jacket?
Make sure you send the jacket. Yeah, what's going on?
Yes, please, the 2009 one. But yeah, they didn't have one that year, unfortunately. And also, I believe back in the days, if you won a regional final, they give you a jacket, but they stopped doing that around about 2001, I believe. So I missed out on the regional jackets, but I'm so grateful I got them trophies. You know, them jackets were, you know, they're awesome. They look cool. With the IDA and ITF, they used to give you like a trophy. So it'd be like a plaque with a record in it, and you know what I mean? And it'd have your name and all that. So that was quite nice, winning a few of them too. Yeah.
And also, RASP, was there kind of like, you know, there's, as we said, amazing DJs all around the world. Was there any kind of DJ that you kind of feared? You thought, oh, I don't want to go up against them, man, because this is going to be ruthless.
Oh, man, there's loads. Absolutely loads. Yeah.
There's too many to name.
Too many, you know what I mean? But a lot of them, I have pure respect. But
without a doubt.
I've always respected. Like, in some of my battles, I've come off a little bit aggressive. And, you know, it's all for show. It's all pantomime. And, you know, it's all like, you know, finger gestures and disses and all of that. And, you know, some of that is for show. Some of it's to hide nerves or whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, every single person that I've ever battled against, whether it be in the 6-minute classic DMC battle, a Red Bull freestyle, or head-to-head ITF, IDA, DMC battle, I've had pure respect for them people. Nothing but respect, you know what I mean? Because I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to get up there, to have the balls to get up on stage, do it, and, you know, to dedicate your time and energy into the battle, you know. So I have much respect for everyone that I've battled. And when I've, you know, done judging, same, you know, I'm looking at it on the other side of the coin. And
because the thing is, RASP, the thing is, we're all built different. You know, some people don't like me. I don't like the spotlight. I don't like the camera in my face. That's why I got the hat and the glasses on and all that. But it's like some people are built different, and even though they might be amazing on the decks, they might not have the confidence to go up in front of like 100 people and DJ.
Yeah, some people thrive off it. Some people prefer to, you know, do it privately, or they just do it for the feeling. Yeah, it's different strokes for different folks in it, you know.
And what would you say would be one of the toughest battles you've ever had? I mean, has there been like certain battles where you've been, wow, this is like, this is going to be hard?
Loads of them. All of them. They're never easy, because you never know how it's going to go on the day. You don't know who's going to turn up to the heat. Sometimes you might do a final or whatever, and there might be a defending champion, so everyone knows, you know, that DJ is going to be the favorite of the day or whatever. Sometimes it's nice to be the underdog in the battle. You know what I mean? That's worked in my favor. And sometimes it's nice to be the favorite. You know, that's worked in my favor, you know, too. I've had a lot of experience doing the battles. You know, I started battling in 1998, and I didn't have a year off. I battled all the way through till 2018. You know, it's a long time to battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Will I do it again? Who knows? I never say never. You know, I enjoyed the craft of turntablism and creating music and that. And, you know, I do other things with DJing now. Like, I do the video DJing. So I do VJing, and I've recently got myself a little loop pedal. And I've been experimenting with that, you know, like just sampling breaks and doing everything live. And I've been having a lot of fun with that lately. So I've actually got a show where I'm going to be doing that in Manchester at the Hip Hop Ship Shop on a night called Working On It, which is on the 17th of March, where it's basically an event where producers come and just like create music live. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that show. It's something a little bit different for me, so I've been practicing that at the moment.
And the thing with technology, you know, you're saying this loop thing, this, that, and the other. It's like technology has, in a way, it's kind of taken it to another level. Like, you know, there's little buttons you can press, and it's a whole different world now, isn't it? Whole different world.
Yeah, totally. Like the thing is with DJing, the technology has always advanced the DJs. You know what I mean? Like from back in the days, you buy a mixer and the crossfaders were awful out the box. Do you
remember WWD-40 in them as well?
You have to squirt that in it or get some, you know, pellet gun oil or sewing machine oil and put it on the rods of the, you know, the crossfader and modify it. Even like making the lag tighter by, you know, putting sellotape on, you know, on the gaps of the crossfader or whatever to putting like 1 or 2 pence pieces on top of the needle to stop it sticking it with blue tack, stop it from jumping. All them little techniques. Yeah, you know, the old 500 Stantons, you need a penny on top of it, or the needles just skip everywhere, you know what I mean? But now the technology has advanced in such a way you don't even need needles anymore. You know, there's these things called Bane 12s, and they look like a turntable, but they just work digitally. So there's never going to be a needle skipping with that. You know, the technology is amazing, and I embrace it. I love the CDJs. I love the DVS like Serato, and you know the record box, the Pioneer DJ stuff, and all of that. I love all that, you know what I mean? But I'll always love the turntables and the traditional side of it too. You know what I mean?
The original format.
Yeah, I will always love that. I've got love for it all. You know, some DJs, I'm only going to play vinyl, or some DJs are like snobbing the old stuff and just using the CDJs and the record box and all that. Me, I'll use any of it, you know what I mean? I like it all. For different reasons and different scenarios.
And another part I was going to say to you as well, in terms of being a DJ, you know, especially going into these battles, the intros were so important. If you can get a really wicked intro in your set, that'll get the crowd, like, you know, jumping and going completely crazy. So an intro to your set must be quite key as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole set is key, but I mean, getting a good intro must be one of the key pieces.
Yeah, I'd say the intro and the outro got to be the hardest thing. You know what I mean? Like within the routine, it got to like smack the hardest. It got to grab people's attention straight away, and you want to leave them with a great impression at the end of the routine. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a lot of decisions to be made when creating routines and doing, you know, DJ performances, even just doing DJ sets or whatever, you know what I mean? You know, just mixing, you know, an hour or 2 hour set or whatever, you know, to capture the audience's attention, you got to hit them with a great intro, you know what I mean? And sometimes that can be a tough decision to make, you know what I mean? Depending on the song or whatever you're going to do for an intro or whatever.
And some of them DJs back in the day, I mean, were incredible. Some of the tricks they were doing, like my friend would stand up literally on a stool and he'd put his foot on the crossfader, and he'd start doing this with his foot on the crossfader and start cutting the record up and using his foot to move the crossfader. And the place would go mad. And so other DJs would pick up a deck and start using it as an instrument and start cutting with holding the deck.
Oh, it's amazing. Some of the tricks that you see over the years and what people did on turntables, especially the visual tricks like that, you know, the body tricks. There was a guy back in the days, he actually span on the turntable, DJ David.
No. What do you mean he span on the turntable?
Remember that?
I don't know.
Right, so 1991, it's the ultimate body trick. You know, we call these visual tricks body tricks, you know, within turntablism. And DJ David, he actually won the DMC, and it was a great spectacle. He did like a b-boy move on the turntable and span round on it.
No,
yeah,
what?
It's incredible.
Wow, what? He didn't even break the turntable with his weight.
Oh, that's how good the Technics turntables are.
They're break-proof. They're break-proof. Wow. Yeah, I need to check that video out. That sounds incredible. But
his routine is really cool. It's really clean routine. But that, you know, as we were saying before, the ending of that routine, he was doing the trick to the Jungle Brothers Al Houshu. And when it starts saying round and round,
man,
spinning round on the turntable, it's incredible.
No, that's mad. I've got to check that out. That's on YouTube, is it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
1991 DMC World Finals.
And also, you know, in terms of like, you know, as a scratch, was you in any like hip hop groups or anything like that? Because I'm sure I picked up one of your MCs in my London cab in London, and he said you was the DJ.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of DJs. Was that Kasky?
I think no, it wasn't Kasky. It was another guy from your neck of the woods.
Okay.
I'll have to find out his name. Really lovely guy. He was the MC in the group.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in a lot of different crews and that. I was in the main crew I was in for a long time, from 1999 to 2006, was a crew called the Shakti. That was with my friends Phil, Mac, Ash, and Charlene. And yeah, we'd create lots of music, do a lot of shows. We even pressed up at some records. Yeah, I've got some here. Right here. This was our first one, the Shakti. Wow.
I love that cover as well, like graphed up.
Yeah, our friend Stock did that.
That's wicked.
Yeah. This came out in 2001, 2002. And yeah, we did all right. You know, we even got a live band as well. And yeah, we was on the circuit for quite a while, you know, doing shows here, there and everywhere. And, you know, as a DJ, I've worked with other MCs. I've worked with Tony Broke from Liverpool, who's also known as TL. Dave the Rough from Manchester. We used to do rough beats. I've worked with him. The Punning Clan, Benediction, Rochester, Louis Cypher, all of them guys, used to work with them, and just different people over the years, you know. And it was great. I love working alongside rappers and artists and, you know, singers and, you know, even bands. I've been in a ton of bands before, you know, just like cutting up while the musicians are playing. And yeah, it's great to collaborate with talented musicians.
Oh, without a doubt. And there's so much talent out now. I mean, when I picked up Kasky the Straggler in my cabin, Silver Grey, and you was cutting at the beginning, what a wicked tune.
Oh yeah, it was an honour to be part of that. Yeah, big up Kasky and Silver.
Yeah, amazing.
It was great to be part of that. And yeah, the end result of that song is really nice. Nice video too.
What are you up to nowadays? I mean, haven't you got like a DJ agency?
Yeah, I run a DJ agency. Basically, I supply bars and venues with different DJs. And yeah, I've been doing that for 6 years. You know, it's fun. It's grown over the years. And yeah, I enjoy doing that. It comes with its ups and downs, like any business. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. I'm learning about business as I'm going along with it. And yeah, it's a cool thing to be into.
And it's something you love doing. It still combines that musical essence.
Yeah. It's good. You know, I offer people work if they have it. And yeah, it's just good to connect with people and yeah, get them out there.
Without a doubt. And are you working on any music tracks at the moment? Because you sent me something and I played it earlier. It was absolutely wicked.
Oh, nice one, man. Yeah, I've actually just released a record. I've just pressed up this record here.
I love it.
So this is Cycles of Hope.
Cycles of Hope.
And it's a 2-track. It's got 2 tracks on it. They're both like instrumental tracks. And on the other side, it has like battle breaks, you know, so it has like scratch sentences so people can use it to cut up and, you know, get creative with it themselves. The cover was made by DJ Woody. Big up DJ Woody.
Big up Woody. Yeah.
And
can you only 100 copies?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's not expensive to press up vinyl nowadays. So if you want one, find me on social media, send me a DM. Once they're gone, you know. So I will be putting it out on Bandcamp as well as a digital release, and you'll be able to get it on Spotify and all that type of stuff. As much as I don't agree with Spotify and Apple Music and all that type of stuff, you got to play the game, haven't you? You know what I mean? I've actually got a music video to it as well that I shot that I've not released yet of one of the songs.
Well, I was going to say big up to 0521, big up to my man Blade out there, and yeah, hopefully you can get the video put onto Blade's channel. I mean, Blade, once again, well, you know, wicked channel. Anyone watching this, go check out 0521.
Oh, big up Blade, absolute legend, lovely guy as well. Yeah.
Talking of UK hip hop as well, you know, was there like some like UK hip hop artists you loved as well?
Oh yeah, well, Blade for one of them, you know.
Yeah.
His album, you know, The Unknown. That album was brilliant. You know, you don't see the signs, and you know the production from Mark B and all the scratch perverts cutting up on them tracks. Absolutely brilliant. I love that album. I love New Mic Order by Task Force.
Oh, amazing.
Great album. Black Twang. 19 Long Time and So Rotten. Yeah, brilliant album.
So much wicked hip hop.
Time in UK hip hop, man. You know, the late 90s, early 2000s was a brilliant time for UK hip hop. There's so many good records being pressed up and so many good tracks. Yeah, it was a very vibrant time, and you know, I'm grateful to be part of that scene back then.
Definitely, yeah. And who you kind of rating nowadays? You know, on the old turntables, on the wheels of steel.
Oh, there's so many. You know, for all the people I mentioned in the past, but some of the new school guys, K-Swizz from New Zealand, he's awesome. Fumi from Japan, he's dope. Oh man, there's so many to mention. Yeah, there's loads of good DJs from the new school too.
Oh, without a doubt. And is there any kind of advice you could give up and coming like you know, turntablists?
Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
Not an instant thing. You've got to put time and dedication into it. Practice. Study the old school. You know, study the funk of the old school, especially when it comes to scratching. Study DJs like Cutmaster Swift and Cash Money and Jazzy Jeff, and you know, study what them guys were doing, and learn the basics. You know, learn the core techniques like the baby scratch, the chirp, the transforms, the chops. Get them down before you move on to the flares and the crabs and the boomerangs and, you know, all these crazy combos. Get the basics down. And once you get the basics down, then you get a greater understanding on how, you know, the newer techniques work, and you'll develop a better flow. Yeah. And, you know, when it comes to like getting gigs or whatever, it's a different environment now. You know, you've got to get your social media game on. You've got to on it with all of that type of stuff. As annoying as it can be, but we live in very different times now. Gone are the times where you walk to different venues with your mixtape, handing them out to promoters. Them days have gone now. You know what I mean? It's
all about the socials, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to have a strong social media presence. So get that game on, and you know, network in them circles. Yeah.
Well, Rasp, what can I say? An absolute amazing chat with you. I mean, time's flown, you know. I mean, it's literally, we flew through that interview, man. It's just like, it was wicked. I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Oh man, I really did. You know, it's an honor to be part of your show. You know, big fan of your show. So
thank you, man.
On it, man. And yeah, you're a great host, and thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, and is there anyone, let's do it the old school way. Is there like anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to everyone that I know, you know, everyone that's inspired me, everyone that I've jammed with. Too many people to mention. Big up my family and, yeah, all my friends. They know who they are.
Big up to you all. And anyone watching this, subscribe to my channel. I've interviewed DJ Pogo, Cutmaster Swift, DJ Cash Money. I mean, there's been so many interviews I've done. And also, more importantly, go and follow DJ RASP because he's an absolute diamond geezer.